The scream cut through the street like a blade. Elias Rowe spun around just as a woman burst out of a corner store, her hands soaked in red, her mouth open but no sound coming out anymore. She staggered 3 steps, locked eyes with him, and then collapsed face first onto the pavement. For half a second, the city froze. Elias was already moving. He dropped to his knees, pressing his jacket against her chest. Hey, hey, stay with me. Someone call an ambulance. People were there, at least 20 of them. Pedestrians, a man with groceries, a couple holding hands, a teenager with earbuds still in. No one moved. No one reached for a phone. The woman's lips trembled. Blood bubbled once, then stopped. She was dead. Elias looked up, breathing hard. She's been stabbed. We need help. Call the police. The silence that followed was worse than the scream. The man with the groceries slowly bent down, picked up a fallen apple, wiped it on his sleeve, and stepped around the body. The couple turned and walked away. The teenager paused, looked at the blood, frowned like he'd seen a mess someone else should clean up, and kept walking. Elias stood there shaking. What the hell is wrong with you people? An older woman finally spoke, her voice flat. You shouldn't be here. Sirens never came. Within 5 minutes, a gray city van rolled up. 2 workers stepped out. No lights, no urgency. They lifted the body, hosed the street, and drove away. By the time Elias remembered to start recording, the street looked untouched. That was how he learned the truth. In Greyhaven, no one reported murders. He had come to the city chasing numbers. Statistics too perfect to be real. 32 years, 0 homicides. A miracle town praised in government reports, urban development journals, investment brochures. Elias was an investigative journalist. Lies were his job. Patterns were his instinct. But he hadn't expected to watch someone die on his first night. At his hotel, he replayed the footage again and again. Every time the same thing happened. The woman fell. The crowd froze. And then, his phone glitched. The video corrupted at the exact moment her blood hit the ground. No, he whispered, tapping the screen. No, no, no. He tried again. Same result. A knock came at the door. Elias stiffened. Yeah? Front desk, a voice said. Just checking in. He opened the door a crack. The receptionist smiled too wide. Everything comfortable? Someone was killed tonight, Elias said. Right outside Maple and 3rd. The smile never changed. There are no violent incidents in Greyhaven. I watched her die. Then you should rest, the receptionist replied gently. Travel can cause confusion. The door closed softly. Elias didn't sleep. The next morning he went to the police station. The lobby was spotless, bright, quiet. A single officer sat behind the desk, flipping through paperwork. I need to report a murder, Elias said. The officer looked up. Name? Elias Rowe, journalist. The officer's pen stopped. We don't accept reports like that. What do you mean like that? There hasn't been a homicide here in decades. Then explain the body. There was no body. Elias leaned forward. I have footage. The officer met his eyes. Something flickered there. Fear, maybe, or warning. Delete it. What? For your own good. Elias laughed once. That's not how this works. The officer stood up. His voice dropped. That's exactly how it works here. Outside, Elias noticed something new. There were no memorials, no missing posters, no flowers tied to lampposts. It was as if death left no shadow. At a diner, Elias tried again. Has anyone died violently here? Ever? The waitress froze mid-pour. Coffee sloshed onto the counter. You should leave, she said quietly. Why? Her eyes flicked to the other customers. Because questions get people misplaced. Misplaced how? She swallowed. Like they were never here. That afternoon, Elias met Mara Vance. She was sitting alone in the public library, surrounded by census records. When he asked if the seat was taken, she smiled like someone grateful for company. You see it too, don't you? She said before he could speak. See what? The gap, the silence between the data. Mara was an urban sociologist, visiting, curious, the kind of curious that didn't know when to stop. They erase things, Vine, she said. People, Events. Entire weeks of history. Elias exhaled slowly. I watched a woman get murdered last night. Mara nodded. Then you're already in danger. They compared notes. Hospital admissions with no police reports. Property records reassigned overnight. Archived newspapers missing dates like teeth pulled from a jaw. Why doesn't anyone fight it? Elias asked. Because the city rewards obedience, Mara replied, and punishes memory. That night they went to the hospital. A nurse recognized Mara and shook her head. You came back. We need to see trauma records, Mara said. The nurse leaned in. You didn't hear this from me. Room 417. Inside, an old man lay unconscious. Gunshot wound. Fresh. No report? Elias whispered. The nurse's hands trembled. He fell. Onto a bullet? Please, she begged. Just go. By morning, the room was empty. So was Mara. Her hotel clerk insisted no one by that name had checked in. Her library access card no longer worked. Her email bounced back as undeliverable. Elias's phone buzzed. A single text from an unknown number. Stop remembering panic clawed up his throat. He ran to the library. Mara's notes were gone. Even the table where she'd sat was clean. Only one thing remained. A voice memo on his recorder. Mara's voice, shaking. If you're hearing this, it means I didn't make it. They don't kill you right away. First, they remove proof you ever mattered. Elias's hands shook. I won't forget you, he whispered. That was when the city turned its attention fully on him. People stared now, not hostile, assessing, like he was a problem being calculated. His articles wouldn't upload. His calls dropped mid-sentence. His reflection in store windows sometimes lagged half a second behind. At night, he heard footsteps outside his door, never knocking, just waiting. An old radio crackled to life in his room at 2:17 a.m. Still awake? A voice asked. Yes, Elias whispered. Good. Means you haven't been corrected yet. The voice belonged to Jonah, a former broadcaster. They let me stay because I talk to no one who listens. What happens to people who report crimes? Jonah laughed softly. They become the crime. Together they uncovered the final truth. Decades ago, Greyhaven struck a deal. Perfect statistics in exchange for funding, power, protection. A system called the ledger tracked disruption. Anything that threatened the image was erased. People think murder is illegal here, Jonah said. It's not. Awareness is. Elias knew what he had to do. He recorded everything, uploaded through offshore servers, scheduled the release. As the video went live, the power cut. The city went dark. Elias ran. By morning, Greyhaven was trending worldwide. By night, his name began to vanish. Articles disappeared. Mentions blurred. Search results came up empty. Elias survived. But somewhere deep in the system, his profile was being edited. The last thing he uploaded was a message. If you're watching this, like the video. Comment so the algorithm remembers me. Subscribe because attention is the only thing that keeps us alive. The screen cut to black. In Greyhaven, the streets were clean again, and no one remembered the dead.